Hello friends, in this video I am going to talk about the Charter Act of 1813. Now before discussing about this act, let me first tell you what is the meaning of charter. So if you open the Oxford Dictionary, so there is a clear-cut meaning of charter is given. So let me first discuss the meaning of charter, and after this I am going to teach you the act. Now what is the meaning of charter? It is mentioned there. It is a written grant. It is a written grant by the sovereign or legislative power of a country. By a sovereign or legislative power of a country. So is India is a sovereign country? Yes. Fine. India is also having a legislative power. Similarly, if I'm talking about the Britain is also a sovereign country, and Britain is also having the legislative power. What is the meaning of sovereign? Sovereign means free from the external and internal pressure. Suppose if I'm talking about the Indian Parliament, Amit Shah, the Home Minister, if he's supposed to present a bill in the Parliament, so is there any external pressure on Amit Shah to pass the bill? No. So India is internally as well as externally sovereign. So remember, my dear friend, what is the meaning of charter? Charter is a written grant by the sovereign or legislative power of a country. Fine. Second line, by which a body. What is the meaning of body? Sir, you're talking about the human body? No, my dear friend. Body here, it may be city, it may be company, or it may be university. And according to this written grant, what will happen? Their rights and privileges are defined. Their rights and privileges are defined. For example, if I am talking about the East India Company, suppose this charter is for the East India Company. So what will happen? The company rights and company privileges. Company rights and company privileges. Company's right and company privileges are defined. So one sentence is given, for example, the town received a charter from the emperor. Fine. So I think you understand what is the meaning of charter. Charter is nothing but a written grant for the East India Company, and what is mentioned in this written grant, their rights and privileges are mentioned. Fine. So I think the meaning is clear. Now suppose this question asked in a mains paper, so you have to write at least minimum 2 to 3 lines regarding this Charter Act 1813. Now this act is basically transforming the East India Company. Basically transforming the East India Company. Sir, what is the meaning of transforming? You know very well, East India Company when came into the India. So East India Company came with the monopoly. What is the meaning of monopoly? No other country from the Britain enter into the India for trade purpose. So with the help of this Charter Act of 1813, the monopoly is ended. The monopoly is ended. The Charter Act of 1813 ended the monopoly of the East India Company. First thing. Second thing, the company rule is extended. Company rule was extended to another 20 years. So this is 1813. So if you add 20 years, so it will be 1833. So next charter you will find in 1833. Clear? I hope up to here you do not have any doubt. Now, as I told you, when East India Company came into the India for trading purpose, they came with the monopoly. Now who give this monopoly or who grant this monopoly? This monopoly was granted by Queen Elizabeth. So Queen Elizabeth granted monopoly to the East India Company, that no other company is going into the India for the trade purpose. So it started in 1600. So this is 1813. So if you add 200 years, so it will be 1800. So you can imagine for more than 200 years, East India Company done trade in India and they earned so much money. Everybody is rich, whether it is the employee, officer, all members of the East India Company, they are highly rich members because they did the trade in India for more than 200 years. Clear? So who give the monopoly, who grant monopoly? It is the Queen Elizabeth. Now, According to this Charter Act 1813, according to this Charter Act 1813, this monopoly was removed. But after this Charter Act 1813, East India Company is now restricted in only two areas. So sir, what is the area? Tea. In tea, East India Company is having a monopoly, and when East India Company is doing a trade with China, no other company can do trade with the China. Fine. So still East India Company have monopoly, but restricted monopoly only in two areas. And what are these areas? Tea, and second is the trade with China. It is clear? Now, you must be surprised. This East India Company came into the India and they done the trade with India for more than 200 years. Now, according to this act, the monopoly was removed. So, in your mind, the main question was, sir, what was the need of removing the monopoly? What was the need? What was the need of removing the monopoly? Now, let us discuss all this with the help of point. First point is the Industrial Revolution. You know very well, in 17, what will happen in Britain? Industrial Revolution happens, and till 1812, Britain become the industrial hub of the world. So if you find anything, for example, you will find jacket, clothes, car, everything will be there. So Industrial Revolution is on the peak. Now what will happen when Industrial Revolution on the peak? So these merchants, these industrialists, they approach to the British government, sir, please allow us to do trade with the India. Okay? We will go to the India and we want to do the trade in India because they are already developed in case of the industry. So much industrial revolution happened. Second thing, so Britain was basically supply their material to the other European country. They are supplying to the other European country. Now what is the problem? The problem is the great man which is known as Napoleon Bonaparte. So Napoleon Bonaparte occupy the other European countries, and after acquiring the other European country, Napoleon Bonaparte pass one degree. Sir, it is written as DECREE, but it is called by the name of degree. What is the meaning of degree? Degree is nothing but an official order. So Napoleon Bonaparte say, I am giving one order that do not do import or export with the Britain. It is my dream. I want to acquire the Britain. Now, what is the main problem? I told you in previously, Britishers they are supplying the material in the other European country, but Napoleon Bonaparte already occupy the major European country, or it was on a process. And later on, Napoleon Bonaparte occupied territory from France to Poland. Now there is a problem. What is the problem? Industrial Revolution is on a peak. Fine. So they are having so many good products, finished products, but they cannot sell to the other European country because of Napoleon Bonaparte. There is no import, no export. And in India, they can't go because East India Company is having a monopoly there. Now, what happens? The British merchants, they approach to the British government. So now what happens? The British merchant, they approach to the British government and told, sir, we have a two problem. What is the problem? One problem is the Napoleon Bonaparte. Napoleon Bonaparte passed one degree, passed one order, and he told there will be no import and export with the Britain. And second problem is you, because you give monopoly of trade in India only to the East India Company. Sir, what will happen to us? We are also having a family now. One side you have given monopoly to the East India Company, and on the other side Napoleon Bonaparte is past one degree. So British government cannot do with the Napoleon Bonaparte. So what they told, okay, now we are passing one order. From now you can go into the India and you can do trade in India. You will be surprised. Sir, what will happen with the East India Company? Their monopoly is over, but still they are having monopoly only in two areas. One is the tea and second is the trade with China. Other companies are coming, but they are not involving in the tea trade because tea trade is only exclusive for the East India Company. They are not involving in the trade with China. Why? Because East India Company is having a monopoly. Fine. After that, let us come to the main feature of this Charter Act 1813. Sir, what will happen to the control of company? Sir, there is no change in the control of company. You know very well, I told you in the Pitt's India Act, the control of the company in the hand of Court of Director, which was 24 in numbers. Nothing will happen. Sir, what will happen to the administration? Sir, nothing happen. Whatever the provisions in the Pitt's India Act, still after the Charter Act of 1813, there was no change in the administration. Central legislature as it is, provincial legislature as it is, no change in the central legislature or provincial legislature, they will remain as it is. Sir, what about change? The change is revenue. Now, my dear friend, revenue is change. Now, revenue is change. So, commercial trade, the money which comes from the commercial trade is separated. The money which comes from the British possession territories in India is separated. So, this time we are having a two source of revenue. One is from the commercial trade and second is from the British possession territory in India. So, this is the major change. Sir, is there any other change? Yes. According to this act, companies should invest 1 lakh rupees per year on the education of the Indians. Now, remember my dear friend, you can write lakh as LAKH or LAC, both are correct. When you are writing a check, you go to the bank, if you write LAC or LAKH, both are same, no problem. So, first thing is that 1 lakh per year, 1 lakh rupees per year should spend on the education of Indian. This is the first change. Sir, what about the other change? Other change is that court is having now more power. Sir, what is the meaning of more power? Court now can convict Indians as well as the other Europeans, which resides in India. Sir, what about the other changes? The other change is that the Christian missionaries is allowed to enter in India and they can spread their religion. And what happens if I read? The missionaries were successful in getting the appointment of a bishop for the British India with his headquarters at Calcutta in the provisions of this act. So these are the positive changes of this act, that is the Charter Act of 1813. I hope this is very much clear. Now, if this is clear, now let us talk about the next act, which is known as the Charter Act of 1833.